Welcome to another podcast of the Dark Side of Beastwriter channel here on YouTube. I'm your host, Ryan Sakamoto, Beastwriter Ryan Sakamoto. And a lot of things to talk about here. You know, I went off the grid a little bit on Friday last week, and I wanted to go ahead and get ready for Coach Camp that Champ Camp had. And again, I want to talk about that. There's also a lot of videos I have yet to post because on the back end here, there's a lot of editing involved. I mean, just to edit those 3 videos that I made of the business coaches that we spoke with earlier today, that took anywhere up to, well, I got home around 11 a.m. and up until probably around 4:30 is when I wrapped up creating those videos, the thumbnails, and then integrating those on the respective social media platforms. It's not as simple as uploading a video. You really have to edit it out and really kind of draw out that empty space. And on top of that, again, when you try to implement the thumbnail itself is a pain in the butt. It's a pain in the butt just making the damn thumbnail. Excuse my language. It's a pain in the butt. So that alone is very, very tasking. Is that even a word? Tasking. I would say pain in the ass, but you know what I'm talking about. So here we are. I was like, you know what? I need to start pushing out these videos, and the thumbnails are not being formatted correctly, but I got it. And here we are today. So again, it's a work in progress, always here in the DOB. What you see on the front end, especially on this live stream, good thing we had no technical issues today on these podcasts that we have moving forward. I paid for professional style equipment here, so we're looking strong, we're looking good, and it's an easy plug and go. But aside from that, I do want to get into talking about first and foremost, I want to say mahalo and thank you to each and every one of you. I say this before we kick off every podcast or every live stream or every video, or if you read the description box of every single video that we put up here on YouTube. I really want to say mahalo and thank you. And the reason I do this is because, again, without you guys, I wouldn't be where in the position I am today, and going to Raiders headquarters right down the street, getting these interviews for you, talking to these players, talking to these coaches, talking to, personnel, and then finding the Beastwriter vibe that we try to bring to you from the Beatwriter perspective that you guys all come to love. Every day I wake up and people say, is it a blessing or a curse that you do what you do because you work so hard, you grind it up in order to be in the position you are? There's a lot of sacrifice to be had, right? And so I think it goes without saying that, it does come with sacrifice. I'm not going to sit here and blow sunshine up your butt and say it's not. There's a lot of sacrifices that have been made over the course of my NFL career in the NFL media. Now, to say that it's an easy transition just to go ahead and go down that path and that road, because I do get a lot of DMs and, how did you get going there? I said the first question you have to ask yourself is, how passionate are you about doing what you love? Like, is this something that you're actually passionate about, or is it just a cool idea that you think that you might be interested in, may not be interested in? So again, the first question I ask you is find what your passion is. And the reason I'm getting to you guys on this is because I'm fielding a lot of questions. How'd you become self-employed? Like, for instance, when I was meeting with the positional coaches, some of them for the first time, right? Because this is my second year with the Raiders, but I came in during training camp. And so I didn't get to a chance to talk to all the positional coaches. A lot of them I did, but there's a handful that I didn't. And so Coach Shaplinski was one of them that I didn't get a chance to meet with. And if you guys watched my video that I posted earlier today of our exclusive one-on-one interview, he said, "Hey man, like, who do you work for?" I was like, "Oh, I work for myself. I'm self-employed." He's like, "What?" Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I said, he's like, I said, "Yeah." I was like, "My name is Beastwriter Ryan Sakamoto. I'm from Dark Side of Beastwriter, and that's my media company." He goes, "Oh, you're Dark Side," and he kind of smiled at me. And he said, "Okay, so like, tell me what you do, right?" And so like, I felt like throughout even the full-on interview process, like in the first 2 to 5 minutes, he was just like getting to know me. So I felt like he kind of reversed the script, and like he was asking me like, "So like, how did you do this? Like, this is awesome." Like he was like passionate about asking me like how I got this. I was like, I have this grading system. He's like, "Oh, so do you just cover the Raiders?" Like, no, I cover all 32 NFL teams. Yes, I primarily cover the Raiders. And I was talking about the grading system. He's like, "Wow, that's a lot of work." He's like, "That's crazy." He's like so impressed. And so I was like, hearing that kind of feedback and how I build up the DOB family. And I at the end of the day, it's like this. Like, again, I wouldn't be in this position without you guys trusting my Beast receipts, trusting what I do on the daily, and then having the foresight and vision to kind of see things for what they really are in real time and cross checking that into hindsight. And again, it's not an easy job. I told coach this earlier. I was like, my job with the Beast receipts, I get really upset when I get it wrong because the expectation is you guys expect me to get it right. And so when I do get it wrong, that's when the trolls come out of the closet, and that's where everyone tries to flex their guns if they have any to begin with, and show off how cool they are. But like I tell them, I'm a one-man show, right? I don't have the backing of a strong network to kind of toot my own horn, right? If I was working for a bigger network like an ESPN, like an NFL network, um, which would be really cool, right? That'd be really cool. Unfortunately, I don't work for them, so like they do all the hyping for that person, right? All that analysts, oh, check out what Michael Robinson said. He predicted this, right? So they do it for him. So for me, I have to do it both ways. I have to make the prediction, and then I have to tell you guys what I said and what in real time to hindsight, because some of you guys are new. We're new to the DOB. So again, I wouldn't be out here and people can take it one or two ways, right? People, oh, you okay? You keep talking about yourself. Yes, of course I talk about myself because I'm a one man show. Who else am I going to talk to? Like, all my stuff is from me. Like, like that's the nature of the beast. That's why I'm the Beastwriter. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But it is a big step forward, and I got to meet a lot of cool people during my first year here, and let's just go ahead and talk about Champ Camp for a little bit, right? So again, over the weekend, I had the opportunity to go ahead and just really have a heart-to-heart conversation with Champ Kelly, the assistant general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders. And he was coming over from the Chicago Bears. And, I got to meet him over the course of the first year, right? Got to talk to him about the East-West Shrine Bowl. And you guys know, if you guys watch my podcast, the first question he comes up to me when we were watching East-West Shrine Bowl practice, like, so who do you have your eyes on? Who do you like? Like, that's his first question. Like, he knows I do the X's and O's thing. So he's like, ooh, who do you like? So I was like, oh man, Zay Flowers, there's a few other people. And then he's okay. So this opportunity here on Saturday was more to get to know the person behind what he truly means, outside of football. We all can talk about the football side, but he is actually a man of faith. And he spoke highly about, God and his faith, and how much he's a fear. He loves to use his platform to further a better movement, right? And so I thought that was a really cool backstory when he was kind of talking to me at Champ Camp. Because for those who don't know what Champ Camp is, I mean, you guys got to remember, Champ Kelly has been executive of the Chicago Bears. He's been with the Denver Broncos. He's been out in Florida, right? Because, I think his alma mater was Florida. So when you look at those different states and where he left his stamp, he left the place better than he came into it. And I think that's a huge I get goosebumps, because how many people can say they do that, right? How many people can say, I take time out of my schedule to kind of further a better movement using my platform, whatever the case may be, whatever it is, and using that to further a better movement? Because outside of the football stuff, this is a game of life. There's relationships that need to be fostered. There's all these different, things that we need to do to kind of grow together as a community. How can we better the community? And so I can kind of resonate with that, because that's why I started Bay Area Rooted LLC back in the Bay Area, right? It's to further a better movement, creating a better tomorrow. And again, I wanted to use my social media platform as a public figure, influencer, fitness model, whatever you guys want, beat writer, whatever you guys want to call me, and use that platform to further a better movement. And that's why I think people gravitated toward the Bay Area Rooted movement, was simply because of, the whole dynamic that Champ Camp provides, right? The Heart Power Inc., that what that nonprofit provides. And so I wanted to go out and show my love and appreciation for it. I'll be honest with you, anytime these things kind of come out, I don't really expect a turnout, like a huge turnout in terms of the media. But it's always something that holds true to dear to my heart. And I understand, there's only so many hours in a day. People have families, people have kids. And so weekends are usually prioritized for them, because, we work Monday through Friday and on Sundays, right? So again, time is of the essence. But for me, just living down the street, I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a concerted effort. I'm going to go ahead and support my guy Champ. And so I went there, and the moment I stepped onto the Raiders practice facility, right? So, I clock in, enter in the black gates, and just painting the picture of the story is I walk right in, and they're like, hey, thank you for coming, go ahead and shoot whatever you want. And I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I get to shoot whatever I want. Like, this is, and right? Here's the funny thing about this. Usually you see the Raiders and they're practicing, right? They practice on maybe one or two fields, right? There's so many kids. There's over 200 kids there that Champ Camp provided free food, free lunch, free t-shirts, and the life experiences that they can take with them for the rest of their lives. If there's one thing that these kids can remember, it's the life lessons that were taught when these Raiders personnel were talking, whether it be Brandon Yergin, right, the director of college scouting, whether it be Dwayne Joseph, who talked about his story, whether it be Champ Kelly talking about his story. All these different life experiences that and knowledge you've gained just outside of the game of football can be had and kind of further your maturation process as a human being. And I thought that was really, really, I mean, for me, just filming all of this, and I'm going to be posting some of this up on my YouTube channel and editing out stuff, obviously, because if there's wind factor, I got to take out the wind. There's a lot of BS that I got to take out, right? Like a lot of weather conditions. It was hot that day, so maybe the lighting is messed up. So I got whatever the case may be. But it was a really cool day to experience all of that. And then the football thing. Look, practice was lit. Like, I'm telling, when I say lit, it was lit. Like, you would never have thought, okay, that Brandon Yergin, Dwan Daniels, Dwayne Joseph, Lenny McGill, Jalen Morris was out there. The Raiders rookie class, Aiden O'Connell, he was out throwing the football, slinging it with the kids. Jacorian Bennett was taught working with the DBs, along with Jordan Perryman, the undrafted free agent out of the University of Washington Huskies, teaching the kid how to backpedal. When you come out of backpedal, you got to walk that fine line now, right? And you want to take too long of a stride backpedaling because you're going to lose ground, right? And you can come off balance. So again, you want to straighten the stay line, just work on the fundamentals, right? Just working how to kind of stay square, but then also stay balanced, right? Coming in and out of your breaks, right? Especially out of backpedal. So again, having a strong cadence is what we say in that backpedal, being fluid when flipping the hips, keeping that shoulder down, right? When you kind of turn in phase. Again, we talk about oily hips and you talk about, flipping and turning. You want to talk about these different fundamentals that I teach and preach, right? When I coach, this is the things that I taught, right? Just strictly fundamentals. We're not even talking about scheme yet. And again, the way these guys, and I say these guys, I'm talking about the Raiders, the way they ran this practice was so intense. You would have thought the Raiders were practicing. They literally ran it like a drill. Like it was like a drill sergeant just, hey, all right, here we go. Next drill, let's go. You would think the foghorn was out. You would think that was out. No, man, no, like it was intense. Like those practices were intense. And I was like, man, like they're actually getting an experience of what a Raiders practice is like. And you know what that embodies? No matter what you do, no days off at 1475 Radio Way. It's all in or nothing. So you either buy in and you're going to be there because you're not going to have but anything, right? So you're going to go all in, right? If you're going to be there, you're going to pay attention, right? All eyes on me, right? When I talk, you listen. When you talk, I listen, right? I'm not looking at the ground. I'm not looking at the feet. I'm not looking at the scoreboard. I'm looking at you because I respect your time. I respect your space. I respect what you have to say. These are life lessons that these kids can take with them for the rest of their lives. And I think that just that in itself is such a huge driving factor for anyone growing up, because not a lot of people have this experience. Not a lot of kids can only dream of this experience. And the fact that Champ Camp provided this, it was really moving. And I just want to say to Champ Kelly personally, man, I had a lot of fun. And you did a really good job. Everything was very organized. And again, they had granola bars for the kids. They had these like, I don't know what kind of candy. It looked like some healthy, good-looking candy. It looked some good stuff. I don't know what it was. It kind of reminded me of some Japanese furikake candy or whatever. But it was some good stuff out there. There's like the rice snacks. I was like, man, this is kind of make me hungry. But I'm on diet. But anyways, cool stuff. Cool stuff all the way around. And some of these kids now follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I don't know how they found me, but they're following me now because I looked up their profile. Oh, Durango High School, or some of these other high schools that they go to. So I thought that was really cool. But I want to give a shout out to Champ Kelly, man. Good stuff at Champ Camp. All right, so now we're going to get into what we talked about today, right? So what exactly went on today as far as the positional transitioning now to the positional coaches? All right, we're going to transition now to this. Port Adelaide's Raider says, "Salute, Beast. Salute. What's going on? How you doing today?" And mahalo. We have 16 people watching this. Give this video a thumbs up if you like the daily content that I provide in my podcast on a day-to-day basis. And we're going to talk about the positional coaches. If you guys haven't watched my videos, go ahead and do that. I posted 3 videos. I talked to tight ends coach Jerry Shaplinsky. Of course, he got promoted to tight ends coach this year. Cool backstory on him and Jimmy Garoppolo. During my time with Jimmy Garoppolo in San Francisco, he actually didn't have a playbook. And I said, "Hey, man, like, you have a playbook. Like, who helped you out?" He said, "Jerry Shaplinsky did." So I wanted to talk to Jerry Shaplinsky, get his side of the story, because that's something that doesn't happen very often. I mean, how many times does a quarterback come into the NFL with no playbook? Like, I didn't have a playbook in college. Like, okay, so what did you just play 3 flies up? Like, what are we doing? Like, okay, are you just a 1-read quarterback? Yeah, you know what? I was a no-read quarterback because we didn't have a playbook. How's that? So how do you game plan for somebody who doesn't have a playbook? That's the hardest for a defensive coordinator. That's like a nightmare, because it's like, okay, they don't have a playbook, so how do we know what to watch for on film? Oh, whoever is open, okay, I guess. Like, how's that work out? Like, okay, how do you know which routes to run? Like, what's the route tree look like from the split end to the flanker to the wide receiver, based on down trips formation to the left, spread formation to the right, wishbone. I mean, I don't know, man. How do you know where to line up if you don't have a playbook? Is it just power eye all the way through? I don't know. Just run counter, offset eye. Just use Jakob Johnson at fullback and just say, okay, let's blow up holes on those traps. I don't know. I thought it was crazy. So I wanted to ask Jerry Shaplinsky, Coach Shaplinsky, about it. Got to know him very well. And in the time frame that I had with him, I actually spoke with him probably the longest out of any of the coaches, and came away very impressed. He's very intentional in everything he says, and I think you can find that with anyone on this coaching staff. Look, we all talk about the Raider way when it comes to the players, but the same dynamic holds true with the coaching staff, and that's what I gained when talking to these coaches now this second year now, right? Because the year 2 for me. I talked to Coach Pierce today, the linebackers coach, former New York Giant linebacker, and talked about Divine Diablo, talked about the hybrid linebacker and what he looks for. And nowadays you need to crossbreed behind a safety and a linebacker because it's a pass happy NFL. So we talked about that, and we talked about a lot of different things and layers to that. Again, there's all these things that I spoke with Coach Pierce about when reading your keys, right? And again, transitioning from Jerry Shaplinsky on the offense side, now we're going to defense. We talked about reading your keys, and that's one of the most important elements of the football game, especially for the linebacker position, because we talk about instincts, and a lot about instincts comes down to game film study and also reading your keys. For instance, if you guys watch film study, if you guys watch my podcast, you will learn something, right? A lot of times, if a guy based on personnel, right? If it's 11 personnel, if it's 12 personnel, 13 personnel, whatever the case may be, empty set, right? Where these guys are lined up pre to post snap. I mean, you can get a lot of information just from that. And if you're a good linebacker and know how to read tells and poker tells, if you're a good poker player, then you can kind of use that to your advantage by, let's say you run a 4.8 40-yard dash or a 4.7 40-yard dash. I mean, people go, "Oh man, you're slow." That's not going to get it done, because in today's day and age, you need to be a 4.4 linebacker, right? That's the hybrid linebacker, man. You're going to get exposed in coverage. Not so fast, because if you can cheat your splits a little bit one way or the left based on the hashes, strong side, play side, weak side, doesn't matter. If you can cheat your hashes wherever you are aligned, pre-snap to post-snap, that will give you the slight edge that you need. And more importantly than that, I don't care if you run a 4-4, because if you know where the play is dictated and the way the leverage of the blocking scheme is up front, if it's a trap, if it's a pull, you know which guard is going to come backside to play side, if it's a trap, if it's a counter, whatever the case may be, and you can kind of slip that block and go back door. A lot of times you see Aaron Donald do this because he knows where the play is going. And sometimes he gets washed out. Other times he doesn't, right? Most times he doesn't. He makes that play, or at least creates plays for guys like Greg Gaines, who was on the team last year, Ashawn Robinson when he was on the team. So a lot of different guys that are playing that 3-4 defensive end for technique. You can really use that to your advantage. Now, say what you want. But again, reading your keys makes life a lot easier on all three levels. And it goes, same could be had of the quarterback of the secondary, right? Talked about it with Coach Simmons and talked about it with Coach Ash on who the quarterback of the secondary is. Talked about it with Coach Simmons last year. I told him when I asked him, I said, no, the quarterback of the secondary is the safety. What are you seeing from Christopher Smith, right? And we talked about Christopher Smith, and Coach Ash is the one that's actually hands-on with Christopher Smith. He's the one that's primarily working with the safeties. And he admitted, I said, hey, man, he's coming out of Georgia. Isn't that kind of like an easier transition from the shoulders up because he's coming from such a strong program in the powerhouse SEC? Didn't want to say that because he's from the Big Ten, the Ohio State University. But no, he admitted it. He's like, yeah, man, yeah, it definitely does help. But then he goes and transitions back into it's a learning game and everyone's learning. But he did say that he is learning at a very high rate. And again, we double down on those games when I say, what did Coach Simmons say? So I go back to Coach Simmons. Hey, Coach, I got a question for you, Coach. Christopher Smith. What do you see from him? Oh, good communicators. He's establishing that role as a communicator on the back end. You know what that means? You cannot communicate on the back end if you don't know the playbook, right? You cannot get guys in position if you don't know the playbook. You cannot communicate. They'll be the ones communicating to you. They'll be like, hey, man, hey, rookie. Like, you don't tell me what to do because I'm supposed to be in this position. We're supposed to be a single high coverage right now, and you're trying to play a two deep safety zone. Like, what are you doing? Christopher Smith is the one that, no. I may be a rookie, but I know what I'm doing. Why are you playing two deep safety zone? It's not a cover 5. We're not playing cover 5 right now. We're playing cover 1 man. In fact, you're supposed to be the robber. It's cover 1 robber. So why don't you scoot up a little bit? You guys know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So Christopher Smith is on the rise. All right. They didn't want to say it, but if you read between the lines and what they're saying, here's another thing. All right. Coaches will tell you everything. This player's good. That player's. When I talked to Coach Polamalu today, the running backs coach, another good guy I get to know. If you guys don't know, he is the uncle of Troy Polamalu and obviously the uncle of Isaiah Polamau, right? Here for the Las Vegas Raiders. Saw my San Diego State hat. He's like, oh, you're going to San Diego State. I have San Diego State ties. I was like, yeah. He's like, who's the coach? I was like, I don't know. He looked at me like, I was like, I don't know. I'm a Bama. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I'm a Bama fan. I'm a Nick Saban guy. He's like, oh, okay, cool. So then we were talking about our San Diego State. But anyways, getting back to Coach Polamalu. We talked about a lot of different things, and I wanted to get his answer on Zeus White and Britton Brown. This is where I really wanted to go with, right? And we've been on for 27 minutes and 48 seconds on this podcast. Give this video a thumbs up if you have yet to do so. And please, it will help the algorithm and push the video to other like-minded nation like yourself. So again, please give this video a thumbs up before we go ahead and continue on. And again, if you guys like to support the channel through a super chat or super sticker, it is the off season and you have the means to do so. And you guys love the vibe that I bring on the daily. You guys can do that through a super chat or a super sticker straight here on YouTube. And you guys can go ahead and do that. Or in the description box below, there is a Venmo link and you guys can shoot me that Venmo straight through the Venmo link. DK, if you're in here, which you are, I see you right here. If you can just please go ahead and tagline the Venmo link so people can go ahead and send the Venmo donation. I've been getting a lot of those as well, just for your support because a lot of people use Venmo, and that'd be great. But yeah, a like is free 99, so that's just as good. I know times are tough, but yeah, let's get those likes up a little bit. And let's see where we can go from here. So we have 18 likes. We have 19 people watching it, which means there's one person that's not liking the video and should, because that is free. So we'll wait. We'll wait till we get those likes up, guys. We got time. I mean, we're on here like 2 hours every podcast. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this. Let me get to some of your questions right now. So yeah, we're talking about Coach Polamalu, and I wanted to get a rundown on basically his thoughts on the running back unit, right? So we talk about guys. Obviously, there's 6 running backs on the roster, right? You have Sincere McCormick, you have Josh Jacobs, you have Zeus White, yeah, Britton Brown, you have Amir Abdullah, you have Brandon Bolden, you have Jakob Johnson, right? I just literally named the running back room. And so, dang, did I just really name the running back room? Gosh, I have no life. Or I do, and that football is my life. Ooh, there you go. Okay, football is life. Football is life. All right, anyways. So yeah, that's the running back room in a nutshell. And so we talked about it with him. And I say, hey man, like, what is your take on specifically? I said specifically. I tried. Specifically Zeus White and Britton Brown going into year 1 to year 2. What do you see in their game and their growth? And it kind of transitioned to like everyone's learning, everyone's growing. So I was like, dang it. So I really wanted to see what he had to say because I said, Josh Jacobs isn't here. But the guys who are here, what are you seeing from them, right? And again, if you guys watch the videos here, I promise you guys are going to watch my interview questions that I had for these positional coaches and my exclusive interviews straight from a beat writer perspective. Also, if you see anyone reposting my videos, tell me. Let me know. If they're writing articles on it and not citing me, let me know. Let me know. There's literally only a handful of people that were there. Literally, all the beat writers that were there, I'm going to tell you, it was Vinny Bonsignori from the Reviewer Journal, Hondo Carpenter from SI, myself, Tushawn Reed from The Athletic, and Adam Hill from the Review Journal. That was it. There's only 5 beat writers there. So small sample size. But again, I thought it was worthwhile. I really did think it was worthwhile. I like talking to the coaches, getting to know them on a more personal level. It was more of a casual vibe. Because everyone, if you watch the Raiders YouTube channel, they say it was a media scrum. It really was. It was kind of like an online dating, not online dating, but the face-to-face dating thing that you saw on that 40-Year-Old Virgin. Remember that movie 40-Year-Old Virgin? And they do that, the dating thing where you have your name tag and he goes, that's kind of how it was. But for us, it was kind of like you pick and choose your spots. Like who you want to talk to, like who's your flavor. I was like, man, I was going in a game plan thinking like, okay, we're going to talk to each one. They're going to come to the podium. But no, see, that's why you got to have I come in with a game plan and then you have to have a plan B option. So I said, what if things kind of got a little on the go? You got to think fast, right? You got to audible. So I did that. I said, okay, I know what I need. I got my stories. I know what I need to talk about. So boom, 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 boom. Everyone was talking to Coach Priscilla, right? Carmen Priscilla, the offensive line coach. I said, you know what? Like, I'm going to use my time and talk to somebody else because Coach Priscilla is here. There's a lot of good information that you can get from Hondo, from Vinny, Tashawn, Adam. They were all there interviewing Coach Priscilla. I used my time as much as I wanted to coach Priscilla because it is talking about the offensive line. I haven't heard anything he said yet, to be quite honest with you. But my thinking is the questions were asked on, you're playing with using the same offensive line from this year or last year. How much has that benefited you moving forward from this time last year, going to OTAs into training camp, and how you think that'll benefit the team moving forward? Something like that. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I haven't watched it, but that's my thinking. And his answer would be like, yeah, it definitely benefits. And, everyone's growing. And how's Thayer Munford? He's growing. Basically, I'm thinking the same questions and answers that Coach Priscilla was giving the beat writers that they were interviewing with would be Vinny, Hondo, Tashawn, or Adam. I was getting from Coach Polamalu. And I think that's a good thing. I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing. I think it's a really good thing. I'm going to tell you why. It's a good thing in the fact that everyone came into it with a game plan. Just like I come in with a game plan, the freaking positional coaches come in with a game plan. They know what questions going to be asked. They know that Beast is going to ask the X's and O's questions. They already know that, right? It's very specific. Hey, Britton Brown, Zeus White, I want to know what you're taking. And then he goes and kind of sidesteps, like, oh, everyone, and then name drops everyone in that unit. And I think that's a cool thing. Why? Because you don't want to give me anything from a beat writer perspective, and you don't want to talk about too highly about somebody else. Again, leading up to training camp, when Josh Jacobs, who is your workhorse back, who isn't there, because psychologically, what is that saying about the guys who are there? And then you're not giving them love because, again, it's an open race, right? Iron sharpens iron mentality. We're not even in a training camp. The pads haven't even came on yet. So if Coach Polamalu came on and said, yeah, you know what? Zeus White is clearly winning the number one running back job behind Josh Jacobs, people are going to run with that and be like, oh man, we have a winner here. That was a great question, Beast. And that was a great, man, you know what Coach McDowell's going to do, but why'd you say that? What are we doing, as Julian Edelman would say on Inside the NFL? By the way, salute to my guys at Inside the NFL. Love you guys. Best show in the NFL. If you guys haven't seen it, go ahead and get Paramount Plus and watch Inside the NFL and my peeps over at Inside the NFL on Paramount Plus with Phil Simms, JB, Julian Edelman, Brandon Marshall, Ray Lewis, Michael Irvin. Those are my guys inside the NFL. Mac Teddy said, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it, my guy. You coming in the clutch all the time. And I really do appreciate it. Mika from Germany sent me another PayPal donation. Thank you. He says they don't, I guess in Germany, they don't have Venmo. So he's like, I found you through PayPal because that's how I got around it. So thank you so much, Mika from Germany. I appreciate it, man. It's crazy. Like I get so many from you, Mika from Germany. I don't even know if it's from today, from yesterday, or like, I think you sent 2 in one day. You must love the vibe that I bring, and I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. All the way in Germany. I love it. I love Germany. You guys are great. So thank you so much, Mika from Germany. Really, really appreciate it. A lot of my close friends are actually German. And I remember we used to go to German bars back at San Diego State. My friend Kevin Mizuno, who's a Phi Psi with me, all my fraternity brothers, him, my other fraternity brother who I was really close with, Ricky Meyer, who's also a Raider fan. We would go to these German, and we're all of us are Hapa. We're part white, part Japanese, and we would always go and to these German bars and have like the Spitz. I think it's called Spitz. I don't want to pronounce it. Spitzful, or it's kind of like a noodle. And then those not bratwurst, but those big old like hot dog looking things. I don't know, man. Those things are freaking delicious, especially with a beer. You're good to go. We always had Blue Moon. We're kids, man. We're kids. Don't hate. We had Blue Moon with the orange slice. That was our thing. We loved it. Is there a good German bar here in Las Vegas? Let me know. I want to relive my San Diego State days. Under 6 says, Beast, what did the coaches say about the rookies? I just gave you the lowdown, man. So Christopher Smith, obviously, if you watched my video, my guy, go ahead and watch that on Christopher Smith. Talk to both positional coaches. Now, Coach Simmons is kind of like the over-the-top scout, if you will, in terms of a scouting perspective on it. He kind of oversees the whole entire secondary, whereas Coach Ash is now the regional scout, right? I like breaking it down like this. He's kind of like the guy who's in charge of an area, which in this specific situation would be considered a positional unit, which is the safety. So he works with guys like Isaiah Polamau. He works with guys like Christopher Smith. He works guys with like Deron Harmon last year. So he's the guy that kind of works with these defensive backs and mainly the strong safeties and free safeties. And so again, where communication is key on the back end, Coach Ash does a really good job. And I talked to Coach Ash earlier today and talked about Christopher Smith and the learning curve for him and talked about how he likes to run his fundamental drills. And, you know, and you guys know how I like to break down Coach Ash's training camp videos when it comes to practice, not a game. We're talking about practice and the fundamental drills and what he teaches and preaches. And, you know, you can kind of learn to appreciate how this team is being built up. And that's why it's so imperative that you guys follow me, not because I'm trying to toot my own horn and say how cool I am. Look, the proof is in the pudding. When someone says, you know, oh, blame the coaching staff for poor tackling, blame the coaching staff for this guy taking a poor angle, blame the coaching staff for this misassignment. Let's go back to what they're teaching and preaching in the GOB practice videos that I've been posting up on the daily because I'm there at Raiders headquarters. You know, I'm the one there. I'm not outside the gates. I'm in the gates, right? I'm in the trenches, right? I'm the ones that's posting these videos, right, for you, just like other beat writers as well, right? I'm not the only one. There's all of us that all the beat writers are posting the same content or have the opportunity to. Whether or not they do it or don't, I mean, you know, whatever the flavor is, but they write about it, right? Whatever the case it is. But you guys see the visual, right? You guys see the breakdowns in real time because I break it down as a play is developing. If you guys watch my Champ Camp videos on practicing fundamentals and running at a 45-degree angle, resetting, staying balanced and square at the second level linebacker, you'll know all the subtle differences between the two, right? And again, there's a lot of different layers and parameters that go into just a specific drill. You can't just watch a guy hit a tackle dummy and be like, oh yeah, they're working on tackling. Okay, what kind of tackle are they working on, right? There's certain levels of tackling. There's different parameters and different layers to tackling, right? You know, you can't just say, oh, see what you hit and then drive, right? Drive through the thighs and drive for 5, whatever the case may be, right? There's a lot of different layers to this, right? And then again, outside of that, are you using sideline as an extra defender, right? Taking the proper angle, right? Those drills too, right? So there's a lot of different leverage tackling standpoints and perspectives that you can teach. But again, it all comes down to fundamentals, working the leverage to your advantage and not getting out leveraged at the point of attack. A lot of these things come into play on a specific drill. And sometimes, I'll be honest with you, some of these undrafted rookie free agents are a lot better than some of these guys who are coming in as drafted guys. Some of these undrafted guys, fundamentally sound, get better coaching than some of the guys that got drafted. All right. Now, I'm not saying it happens on a day-to-day basis, on a routine basis, because let's face it, guys get drafted because the odds are they have more talent, they're more fundamentally sound, and so forth. But, you'll find a guy that's like, wow, what happened to this guy? How did he not get drafted? GA Patriot says, Nation. Carlos says, awesome work, Beast. Thank you so much, Carlos. I appreciate you, man. I come in with the game plan, like I said, with those interview questions. And the reason why I ask these questions is, again, so you guys can gain a perspective of the Beast perspective, right? And again, here in the dark side of Beastwriter, we're family, right? So when I ask a question, we're all asking that question, right? When I get that answer, we're all getting that answer, right? We're leaving no stone unturned. You have a question you want asked? You want me to ask? Ask it. DK asked the question. I popped out the answer, right? So that's how it goes. I think it's he says, I agree, Beast, making content takes work and tasking is a word. I think it is I think it is, but I think Juan Avalos is right when he says taxing. I think it is taxing. Actually, I'm pretty sure. I went to school for this. Yes, taxing, but tasking a word though too? I think I'm gonna make it a word. I don't give a damn. What people gonna say, oh my gosh, you said tasking. Call the podcast police. Man, we make our own words up. We make up fuga in my grading system. That's not even, what is fuga? F up the gray area. That's what fuga is, right? Nothing cheap, nothing deep. You know what I'm saying? Juan Navarro says it's all about making a difference in the lives of others. Proud, Beast. Yeah, absolutely, man. That's why I do these live streams. That's how I do these podcasts. Look, let's face it. I can take an off season right now and be at the gym right now, literally, right? Because that's what I do, right? I work out, I online coach, I personal train, I do all of that good stuff, right? You guys know I do this, right? Evogen Athlete, right? Which, by the way, Evogen, we are coming up with more supplements for you guys to try. So I'm going to be getting samples for all you guys. And guys, you guys can win some of these samples, right? And again, it's free 99. All you have to do is subscribe to the YouTube channel. Again, if football and fitness is what we do here, all right? So you're going to get a fitness aspect of it. And again, that's something I talked with Coach Shoplinski today. He's like, what do you, so he's like, do what else you do, I was like, oh, well, I also bodybuild. And he's like, dang, how do you do all that? Like, that's crazy. I was like, he's like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know, man. I'm just passionate about what I do. I was passionate about what I do. And you guys can tell I'm passionate about what I do, right? So if you guys want to support the passion that I do, we've been on for 43 minutes and 12 seconds. If you guys want to send me a super chat, Raphael Chalkin, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, yo, Beastwriter, El Capitan Rafucho salutes to you. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. And if you guys want to support me through a super chat or a super sticker, through the passion that I show for the Silver and Black on the daily, on the Monday through Friday podcast that we like to go. And again, we're having on great guests coming on here, right? And again, I cannot make promises, right? I don't like making false promises or giving people false hope because, again, you guys know I will be here Monday through Friday, but I want to highlight somebody else. So today I was talking to Vinny. Vinny's going to be on Thursday. All right. Vinny's going to be on Thursday on a Don't Miss a Beat from the Beat. And I'm going to pick a time with Vinny and work that out. But he said he should be on this week. Hondo Carpenter will be on after 4th of July weekend. So he said he'll hop on after 4th of July weekend. I said, man, you're the one that broke down the Hunter Renfrow getting traded, man, or being on the trading block. So, I want you to talk about that if it happens, right? Let's give him love, right? Let's give Hondo Carpenter love for that, right? That receipt, that's going to check out. If Hondo Carpenter is correct and Hunter Renfrow gets traded, that's a receipt that Hondo Carpenter has in his forte. So Hondo Carpenter is going to be on after 4th of July weekend. We're going to talk about a lot of different dynamics, not just Hunter Renfro, and talk about his perspective from a beat writer perspective on OTAs, training camp battles, all of that, right? And I think that's really cool getting a fresh perspective from another beat writer, because then you can kind of see what they have to say, because you guys already know what I bring to the table, right? Because you guys follow me. But let's highlight someone else. Let's see what they have to say, right? Let's give them a voice, right? I think that's really cool. Iron sharpens iron, right? I'm all about iron sharpens iron, right? And again, the iron sharpens iron mentality is why not? Why not? Why not have the best of the best on here, right? Hondo Carpenter, Vinny Bonsignore, Tashawn Reed. Maybe we have Vic Tafer on here. Adam Hill say he's going to be on here. Cassie Soto is going to be on here. Heidi Fang is going to be on here. Harry Ruiz is going to be on. Case Kiefer is going to be on here, right? Maybe PG comes on here if he has time, from ESPN. I would love to have PG on anytime. Everyone, Kevin Bollinger, right? From Fox 5, local Las Vegas. Maybe he can hop on one of these days. It's just, why not? Why not? I think that's a good thing going that we have in the DOB on that Thursday podcast on the Don't Miss a Beat from the Beat, right? And again, the Blitz pickup is on Wednesday. So if it's not a beat writer, like Harry Weiss, who's not a beat writer, but again, he's there, right? He's at Raiders headquarters from time to time, and he's on Raider Nation Radio like all the time. Why not highlight Harry Weiss, right? Why not highlight Samoan Raider? Why not highlight Sanji? Why not highlight some of these content creators who aren't there, right? Give them a voice. I think it's all good vibes only. I think it's all good vibes only. Beast Raider Nation wants to know, do you have hair under that Alabama cap? Nope. And you know how you can tell? Go to my Instagram. All my posts are pictures on Instagram, but no, I don't have hair. I'm bald. I'm strictly bald. I could grow hair if I wanted to, but I made an executive decision I went bald back in 6th grade. So 6th grade, I went bald. Here's the backstory on the Beast receipts here. 6th grade, I decided to go bald, and everyone was doing it back in the Bay Area, back in San Jose. It was the East Side San Jose thing to do. You're Asian, you play ball, you go bald, right? And that was kind of like in the mid 90s, and then 96, 97, 98 just went bald, and then 99, 2000. Sorry, 99 I had hair. So 99 I had hair. I had a little flat top going on. I was like, nah, I'm not liking it. Then in 2000 I went bald again. And 2001, 2002 went back to that flat top style. And then in 2003, 2004, 2005, I was like, yeah, kept the hair going, right? And then it wasn't until after, I think 2010. 2010 is when I bicked it again. And from 2010 on, been bald. So I've been bald most of my life. I've only had hair maybe like 5 or 6 years out of my life. Right? So here's the thing about being bald. Not everyone can do it. I mean, everyone can do it, but people look weird. I mean, like, not weird's a strong word. I mean, you might have a misshaped head. Like, I have a small head. I don't know. I have a pinhead. My best friend at the time called me and say, you have a pinhead. So we would joke around. I have a pinhead. So I have a small head, but at least it's like symmetrical, right? Like, at least it's legit. And for competitions, when I compete, it actually works in my favor, right? Because it makes my V taper come out, makes me look like I brought our shoulders, all about the angles. And so being bald actually has advantageous effects in the competitive advantage when stepping on stage. So, if I'm competing, if you're going to be in the game, right? So I go bald. And another thing is I wake up, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to be like, oh, I had a bad hair day, because I don't have hair, bro. So it's all good. Oh, man. Port says, I think after starting free safety this year and 2024, and Rockwell Johnson will be starting strong safety unless Merrick can take a next step. But as of now, Philip Merrick will be depth. Ooh, interesting. So you think Marcus Epps will be the starting free safety and Jarquan Johnson will be the starting strong safety? Interesting. That's an interesting take. That is an interesting take. Port says Raiders offensive line finished 11th in run blocking. Okay. Hopefully you're not talking PFF. Hopefully you're not talking PFF. Nothing against PFF, but I'm just saying, is there another grading system that people go off besides PFF, besides the DOB here? I don't know. I don't know. 50 plus media says, my guy Beast, what's going on? How you doing today? Queen Rhedorette's in the house. How you doing, Queen Rhetorette? Always a pleasure seeing you, Queen Rhetorette. Go follow Queen Rhetorette on Instagram. She's on here on YouTube. She's a diehard Raider fan. Oh, man. On to six soldiers. My guy Alvaro says, Beast from NWA says, Beast, what does the passing game coordinator do? Well, his job is basically just that, the passing game coordinator, right? And so, again, what he does and how he kind of builds up his team, that remains to be seen. I mean, the passing game coordinator position on both sides of the ball. Coach Simmons on the defense side is the passing game coordinator on defense, and then you have Scott Turner on the offense side. So the passing game coordinator position, that is a great question because I didn't get to interview Scott Turner. He was one of like three coaches that I didn't get a chance to interview. So every team runs it differently. So maybe I can ask Vinny. That'd be a hot topic, right? For Vinny. Maybe Vinny got to talk to Coach Turner today. So maybe we can ask. That's a good question for Vinny on Thursday. And don't miss a beat from the beat. See, all this stuff we can talk about. So again, what I miss, Vinny could have picked up the slack and say, hey, Beast, you screwed up on this one. You dropped the ball on this one. I got your back, right? I got your back. So that's a good question. I don't know. So what I don't know, and I don't know. So I'm not gonna. I can lie to you and be like, oh yeah, this is what they do, and this I don't, because every team has their own set of responsibilities and rules of engagement and how they want to run that. So it's very different. Very different. All right. Daniel Kiss, I can't speak. My guy Beast giving the nation the chalkboard lesson on football fundamentals and what we're looking for in practice, the why behind the what. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, getting good feedback from not just obviously you guys love and support me, right? That's a huge number one driving force in what I do. I think you guys know that. But hearing it from like peers and just like people who voices matter, right? Like GM Dave Ziegler, like appreciates my grading system. He appreciates my one-on-one film breakdowns or training camp videos, right? And one-on-ones during training camp. You talk to guys like Brandon Yergin, who appreciates my game film breakdowns. You talk to Coach Shaplinski, is like very impressed about how I do things and our flavor that we bring here in the DOB, which is a little bit different, right? It takes a lot more work, right? Doesn't necessarily make it better or worse or downplay anyone else's grind in their work. It's all about being as efficient as possible, but it's hard for me to be efficient as possible without putting in that work. Like you cannot fast forward grades. And I talked to it with Brandon Yergin. We were talking about, watching film, at Champ Camp. And he says, you know what? I appreciate what you do. I said, man, it means a lot coming from you. As the director of college scouting, he's like number 3 in charge with the Raiders, right? GM Dave Ziegler. Then you have then you have Champ Kelly. Then you have Brandon Yergin. So he's number 3 in line along with Dwayne Joseph. And so, I said, just hearing those words from you means a lot. It's like, well, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a good job, and, and I told him, I was like, I don't think people really appreciate like how much time like watching film is, and he's like, you know what, you're exactly right. He's like, on one single play, I could be watching that one play for 45 minutes to an hour, like if not more, right? And as crazy as that sounds, I found myself maybe not watching it that long, like one play that long, but I find myself, I think on one play it was up to like almost 25 minutes. And I remember because I was supposed to, I was late for a conference call with one of my clients. And so it kind of ran past that time. And I remember the exact time when I said, okay, this play's taking forever to grade. I have a conference call at 6:35 and it was at 6:10 or something like that. And it took a really, really long time just for one single play. So again, the grading system is not clear cut and dry, right? There's a lot of things you can look for, and forget the grading, right? Just like, what do you look for? Like there's little things that you can look for just evaluating the game film. And again, that's why I say, don't be a box score reader, but at the end of the day, you only have so many hours in the day. All right. We got D Menace all up in the house. D Menace, what's going on, my guy? All right, let's see. Let me get to some of the questions. Space Jam says, seeing the smile on Rob Leonard's face today put a freaking huge one on mine. 100. Yeah, Coach Leonard was right there. And if you guys noticed, we were kind of playing merry-go-round with the business show coaches. If you guys are just tuning in, there's 24 of you guys watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you like what I bring on the daily when it comes to silver and black content. And yeah, this is something that we like to do. It's just really, really cool on the vibe that we bring here on the daily. And for those who don't know, so Coach Leonard was sitting on the far end, and so that's like that's the first seat that when you walk in, the coaches and players walk in. That was the first seat that he was sitting at in the front row. And then in my seat, Coach Ash was sitting in my seat. So we had Coach Ash in my seat, which is coincidence because Coach Ash's wife is a childhood friend of mine. I actually grew up with Coach Ash's wife, and that family is like a good family friend from like elementary school. So it's funny how everything comes full circle. And we kind of talked about, the transition from Bay Area living to Vegas here. And he's from obviously Ohio, but it's just funny how everything just comes full circle. But no, he coincidentally, he was sitting in my seat. Like his assigned seat was where I sit. I looked at it, I was like, that's kind of awesome. That's kind of coincidence. Kind of cool. Boogie says, want to see you and Tafer talk some ball on here. He's a character. Yeah, I like Vic, man. I have a lot of appreciation for Vic Tafer. I think he does a really, really good job. Oh. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Daniel Kim says, I haven't finished listening to all of today's reviews. Got to catch up. Family time was super busy. All right. Port says, where do you find your grading system on college players? Well, I don't release the algorithm. Otherwise, that would be foolish of me. So that's kept close to my heart, and that will always be that way. So I do not release my algorithm. But there are things that you can look for. And let's just put it this way. It's a lot of times it's down to 0.2 of 1 point from PFF. And in fact, sometimes it's spot on. Sometimes it's like 0.5 of 1 point. Sometimes it's like 2-3 points off, but rarely is that the case. Plow Jogger says, any chance you interview any Raiderettes? Ooh, that's a good question. I can have former Raiderettes on because they're my friends. We can have Golden State Warriors cheerleaders on here because they're my friends. That might happen down the road. But as far as Raiderettes, that's a great question. I'd have to double check and see if and get the okay on that to have Raiderettes on here. Current Raiderettes, former Raiderettes, it's fine. Like if I want my girl Carly on here, we can go ahead and have Carly on here. And a few other, if you want Warriors cheerleaders on here, we can talk about Warriors cheerleaders on here, former and current. But yeah, it's one of those things where I'm always open to it. And I think that'd be cool, just having another female voice on the platform. And again, that's why we have Cassie on here. That's why we're going to have Heidi on here. We're going to have Mariah on here too. A lot of cool people are going to be hopping on the DOB family show here on our podcast. So stay tuned for that. Oh, man. DK says, based on today's answers, where do you think you'll start watching our team perform, given you can't be everywhere? Down in the trenches. I want to see the offensive line and defensive line. My thinking is if Tyree Wilson is not ready to go on at the start of training camp, which if I had to take a guess, no one is saying anything. No one has said that he'll be ready. He won't be ready. I mean, I'm not hearing anything. This is just my gut feeling. I don't think Tyree Wilson is going to be there for the start of training camp. That's just my gut feeling. Like no one's telling me that. It's not news because, I could be wrong. It's not a beast receipt that I'm have a strong conviction about. I just think if Tyree Wilson is unable to go at the start of training camp, I want to see how that edge rushing duo looks. right? Whether it be Chandler Jones and then Max Crosby. But then again, who's the third guy in line if Tyree Wilson isn't there, right? That's the secret. That's the formula I want to get at is, okay, who's going to step up if Tyree Wilson's unable to go? I mean, that's a real question, right? Because he hasn't been there for mandatory minicamp. He wasn't there for a lot of the work. So how is Tyree Wilson? Like, I want to see how Tyree Wilson is. Al's Go says, salute Beast. What's going on? How you doing today? Daniel Kim says, RDB and OL Room will have some surprise cuts. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. If you want to cross check my Beast receipts in hindsight, I think I was at I think I got 87% success rate on predicting the 53-man roster last year when it came to the Raiders. Usually I'm in the 90 percentile. Like, I'm pretty upset that I wasn't like hitting the 90%. Dating back with my time with the Niners and Steelers. But yeah, the surprise cut I think last year for me was who was it? It was a cornerback it was a veteran cornerback who I thought was going to make the roster. He got cut. Now it's slipping my mind. I think didn't he play for the Denver Broncos? I forgot who it was, but he got cut. He was a surprise cut, and I was like, wow, they cut him. It's crazy. Plow Jogger says, so we've been on for 1 hour, 1 minute, and 34 seconds. If you guys want to support me through a super chat or a super sticker, please be sure to do so, or a Venmo donation. You guys can go ahead and hit the link in the description box below, and there's a link to my Venmo, and you guys can send me a Venmo donation there. Otherwise, a like is free 99. A like is worth 1,000 hugs. There's 23 of you guys watching right now. Give this video a like before we go ahead and answer more questions, because again, it's going to help push the algorithm to other like-minded nation like yourselves as a recommended video here on YouTube. All right, let's see. Plow Jogger says, Beast, is there any real good news on foot issues for Jimmy G and Tyree? They would blast it out. Makes me worried. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with their injuries and their foot injuries and the Lisfranc injury and how that's going to. I mean, I'm not an orthopedic surgeon. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. I mean, they have similar Lisfranc injuries, right? So it's like, okay, so how are they playing it? So we don't know. And again, here's the thing. If they were to kick off training camp, do you think honestly that they would, okay, Jimmy Garoppolo is taking first team reps right away? No, he'd probably be taking like 13 reps. He'd probably be on the sideline or something like that, just kind of getting warmed up, kind of getting his muscle memory back and relocated. Like, I don't think you throw out a guy. All right, he's healthy to go. Let's go. You have to ease him in. All right, I think we're going to wrap up this live stream podcast today on the Pick 6 at 6. We've been on for 1 hour and 3 minutes and 24 seconds. I got to hit the gym. It's 7:05 p.m., but I just want to go ahead and give a special shout out to everyone that sent me a like, a comment, and also the good vibes only here in the DOB. And again, thank you so much, and special shout out for those who have sent me super chats and super stickers. And if you're watching the replay and would like to send me a super thanks or a Venmo donation, please do so. I get the notifications. And if you're just catching the replay and you guys want to drop your comments and appreciation, I always go ahead and look at those because I get notified. I turn on the bell notification on my own cell phone. So you guys do the same, right? We have 5,400 subscribers here on YouTube now. Be sure to turn on the bell notification because only 15% of you guys do that already. And you guys are going to miss a beat from the beat if you guys don't do that. So if you guys like the vibe, if you guys like the flavor that I bring on the daily, go ahead and turn on that bell notification on your smart device so you guys can get located and know exactly what's going on straight from Raiders headquarters. But special shout out to Mac Teddy. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Really appreciate it. And El Capitan, thank you so much for the $2 super chat on this live stream podcast Pick 6 at 6. That's going to wrap it up for this live stream. If you guys have any other questions, go ahead and drop those in the comment section below on the replay. And we're going to leave no stone unturned as we keep things hot here in the DOB. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Have a good night. Beastwriter out.